Hey everybody, it's product review time. I've been talking about this product now for 6-8 months. Been promising a video for it. Today's the day, guys, girls, ladies, gentlemen, friends, countrymen, lend me your ear. Today's the day. We're going to talk about how we keep our tires inflated. On the cheap, as bugs come flying around, and we're standing in grass. I wouldn't call it knee-high grass because it's actually higher than knee-high grass. So anyway, this is what we use. It is the Bauer 12-volt mini air compressor. It's from Harbor Freight. Not sponsored, but we're willing to listen if you're willing to talk. Harbor Freight. This thing does everything that we need it to do. It actually works up to 160 pounds per square inch, which is more than enough for our tires, obviously, and all of our other needs. And it has all the adapters you need. It is 12 volt or 20 volt, and we'll talk about that in just a second. As Talon just came over here to hang out with us. There is a cord right here underneath that you can plug into any 12 volt outlet. But what I recommend, well, this is I think $44.99. What I recommend is getting the battery, and this is a 20 volt lithium battery, and I think this was another 40 bucks. I'm not sure. I have links to all this in the description below with current prices as of when we post this. But this is the way I recommend. Use this. I charge this thing. I used to keep it on the charger, and then I stopped. And let's see, it hasn't been on a charger now in months. And if you click the button, you can see, hopefully I can't see for the glare, but the battery's full still. And so that's what I use, because then I don't have to worry about extension cords or finding an outlet or anything else. It's just there. The cool thing about this too, it also has a light.
Can't see it in the daylight.
Can't see it in the daylight, but it does have a light. It does have preset PSI, so you can set it and forget it. You can set it for whatever pounds you want. You have multiple attachments here. You got this hose here for like blowing up inflatables. This is actually the hose here in the back. We're going to take this off because we're going to show you this thing in action in just a second. It's got a pretty long hose, and the end actually will, on a tire at least, clamp on and stay on, so you don't have to hold it. And it also has different connections here. You got a needle like to blow up basketballs and stuff like that, and some other connections. So this is an all-in-one thing for under $100. It's pretty lightweight, even with the battery attached. Very compact. And
can you blow up a pool float? Like a big pool float?
You can blow up a very big pool float with it.
Like a unicorn or something?
Yeah, you can blow up a unicorn with it. Okay. I'm almost positive. Haven't tried it yet, but I'm pretty sure. This is going to be a quick video because, well, we've just told you everything about it. Let's go see it in action and how it works. Let's try this in action. Hope you get a good shot of my butt here. All right, we're going to try this thing in action. We're going to go ahead and turn it on. Our rear tires are supposed to be at 100 pounds per square inch, and we're going to talk about how I came up with that number in just a little while. So I set it for 100. And we connect it. And they're at 92.5 pounds right now, and we want them to be 100. So here we go. Now I know it's not the quickest, but for the size it is and the fact that it's under $200, I can wait a few minutes for it to get up to 100 pounds per square inch. Okay, one thing I forgot to mention is, at least on mine, whatever you set it to, the setting, your preset, and the it doesn't always match what the actual reading is. For instance, I had this thing set to 100, but when I turned it off at 100, it said it was only 99 in there. So you need to add one, I guess is the best way to put it. So if you want 100 pounds in your tires, set it to 101, and then you're fine. That's one tire down, 5 more to go. All right, so we finished airing up all the tires, and as you can see, I'm dressed completely different. A couple of reasons for that. Number one, I recorded this a few days later than the rest of the video. The biggest reason for that was because we filmed the one tire being pumped up, and then I started pumping up the rest and that's when the monsoon hit and we got drenched. We were actually also cleaning out the basement at the same time, so it was kind of a nightmare. We moved to a different location, so finally got a chance to sit down and close out this video properly. I've shown you the air compressor and how much I love it and how great it works. Again, it is a little slow. Once you get up in the high 90s and 100 pounds per square inch, it could take about a minute or so per pound to go up once you hit those high PSI numbers. Just keep that in mind. But again, you're talking about an air compressor with very small form factor, and it's cordless basically. I mean, you can plug it into a 12-volt outlet if you don't want to buy the battery, but it's compact, cordless, and it's lightweight, and it's multifunction. The other thing is, well, how do you know how much air to put into your tires? Now, we did a Tech Talk University live stream on that a couple of months ago. Kyle from K&R Destinations on there, and we talked about weights, and we also talked about tire pressures. So here's the thing. There's a lot of schools of thought out there about what your tire pressure should be in your RV. And the school of thoughts range all over the place. I'm just going to list some of the common ones, and then I'm going to tell you my thoughts. So the first one is you put whatever the air pressure is stamped on the side of the tire. Okay, so what's stamped on the side of the tire is the maximum pressure that tire can safely handle. And we're talking cold PSI, which means the tire is, you haven't been moving. So it's at ambient temperature being the current outside temperature. If you inflate it to the maximum PSI, that's for the maximum weight that tire is rated for as well. If you're way under that weight, the tire is going to be overinflated, so you're going to get uneven tire wear. Also, you're going to get a bumpier ride. This is especially true if you're in a drivable RV. You'll feel those bumps more. The next thing is every one of these RVs has a sticker in the door or somewhere that has recommended tire pressure. Now that number is derived, depending on the manufacturer, from a lot of different sources, but it usually is derived from the weight of that RV at the factory, which means completely dry. All the tanks dry. Those numbers are probably too light, and they usually add a little bit. It depends, again, it's all manufacturer dependent, and they usually add a little bit more fudge factor to it to account for so much weight and things like that. So it's a good starting spot, but it's still not the right weight. What is the method I use, and what is the method I recommend? Well, the method I recommend is the same method that your tire manufacturer recommends. And before I go any further into this, who is the best source of information on how much air should be in your tires? The tire manufacturer or some random person on Facebook? We have Michelin tires on our RV, so I'm going to go with what Michelin says. And by and large, all the other RV tire manufacturers do the same thing. And this is what you do. Number one, you have to weigh your RV as it is going to be going down the road. That means with all your stuff in it. If it's a drivable RV, fill the gas tank up. Make sure the freshwater tank has however much water you normally carry. The best way is to get a four-corner weigh. That means you get the individual weight on each of the four corners of your RV. Not a lot of places that can do that, so you got to go hunt and find those. But to get an actual axle weight, you can go to any truck stop. Most of them have a CAT scale. I think it costs $12. You can download the app from weightmytruck.com, and then when you pull up to the CAT scale, you open up the app. Make sure you already have a payment method set up on the website, because you can't do it on the app. Once you pull up there, you verify that you're at the location it thinks you're at. You accept the fee, and a few seconds later, it gives you the weights, and it also sends you an email with the weights. And if you're towing a vehicle, it weighs everything. It'll weigh all the axles. So then you take that axle, here you'll see the actual weight sheet that we did. We just weighed ours yesterday. You take that and you go to your tire manufacturer's website. Again, for us, that's Michelin, so we're going to show you the Michelin website. And if you're not sure, just type in the tire manufacturer name in Google and then like RV PSI, and you'll be able to find it. Go there, you find your tires on that page. You can see here, there's a lot of tires on this page. So we find the tires we have, and then whatever weight is on that axle on your weight sheet, you divide it in half, and then you find that number across the chart, and you can see the chart here. Always round, so if you're somewhere between two different PSI numbers, go up to the next one. Even if you're only off by a couple of pounds, go up to the next one, because you'd rather have the tires a little bit overinflated than a little bit underinflated. Divide by 2, you just blow up the tires to those amounts. So it's just that easy. Now you know where you're at. Again, if you go up a couple of pounds, it's okay. But what you don't want to do is you don't want to add 20 pounds or 30 pounds. You want to stay within, 5 pounds or so, just to give yourself that fudge factor in case you do add more weight. Now, the best way, like we talked about, was doing the 4-corner weight. Now, why the 4-corner weight? Well, very simple. Now, a cat scale is only going to tell you that weight on that axle. And as you can see here, it says on the steer axle, we're 8,760 pounds. Is that evenly divided between those two axles? We don't know. Now, do we want it evenly divided? Absolutely. So the 4-corner way will give you how much weight's on each tire. I know I'm probably going to get a lot of comments, people saying that that's the incorrect method to do it. And that's okay if that's your belief. If you believe it should be, inflated to the cold PSI max rating on the side of the tire, or if it just go by what the RV manufacturer said, that's okay. That's fine. Like I said, I'm choosing to go with what the tire manufacturer recommends, because they're the ones who built the tire. They're the ones who know the tire. The RV dealer, yes, they built the RV and they use that same chart, but they're using it based on a certain weight, which is probably not the weight of your coach once you put you and your stuff in it. Again, the RV manufacturer is based on its dry weight, plus depending on the manufacturer, whatever fudge factor they want to put in, just weigh it. Real simple, real quick, and adjust your tires accordingly. And that's it. So if you do have any questions about this, why you should do the method I recommend, or any questions specifically about this air compressor, just drop it in the comment below. And also, I'm going to put a link in here to both the air compressor and the battery that we use for our air compressor. So thanks you guys for watching, and we hope to see you at our next adventure.